What's with the New York ones going like the police cars going? Whoop, whoop, whoop? Sounds like a whale.
It's just a quick burst instead of turning on the siren. Completely.
I think it's a different mechanism than it used to be, right?
I don't know what triggers it if it's not like a compression air horn. Just some electronic noise at this point.
I think it's a different electron. I've never heard it before.
And that's our topic today, sirens.
Sirens. All the different ways that a siren can be, right? What is the word? Intonations? No. Incarnations? Incantations?
Keep going.
Intubations? In
fact, you taught people English.
They liked me because I was like, you know what? English is hard, you guys. People who are born speaking English don't speak perfect English. And you're going to, by the end of this thing, you're going to know more about English than they will.
Neither do you speak perfect English.
Perfect. Did I say perfect? Oh.
Perfect.
Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
My name is Greg Russ, and it's Autumn's week for a topic.
My week. My week. And this week I want to talk about, at first I was thinking we would talk about childhood, but that covers such a huge time and all kinds of different things that happen in childhood.
Broad is what you're saying, a broad topic. Word economy.
Broad. Hey,
Autumn.
that topic is too broad, like this broad over here.
I want to get our show down to 20 minutes, so you got to choose your words widely.
Widely?
Wisely.
That was the perfect time to say the wrong word.
Being an asshole?
Yes. All right. So
serves you right.
Shut up. The topic that I want to do today is puberty. It could be our puberty. It could be how kids are maybe dealing with puberty now and the different challenges that I think kids have nowadays.
What's got you thinking about puberty? You're sitting on the couch. Puberty enters the mind.
No, it was childhood. And I thought...
I get that. But when you're narrowing it down, puberty's the way to go. The worst time of life.
Ugh.
Let's focus on the absolute most horrific time period in a person's life. And, that's not related to bad choices.
What do you mean not related to bad choices?
Well, your life could surely get worse based on bad choices or circumstance. But this is something everyone has to go through. There's no stopping it.
No, there's no stopping it. And everyone around you is going through it at different paces, but at the same time, because all your friends, you're in school. And you're just, I'm sure, because when I think about my puberty, I kind of went through puberty a little early.
Yeah, fill me in. Let's hear about your puberty. I've been waiting since I've known you for, how many years have I known you? 2002.
Yeah.
So 17 years I've been waiting to know about your puberty.
Well,
finally.
Are you sitting down?
Oh, I've been sitting.
What a roller coaster ride. No, I got my period super early. I think before I don't know how that works, but I think it was before I started going through puberty. I got my period, which
How
I'm sure
old?
is, I was in third grade.
Third grade? How old is third grade?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was 8 probably. I was 8 or 9.
All right, that is very early.
Yeah, so I did.
Just to give you a comparison, these days, average onset of puberty for girls is 10 to 11.
Right.
Used to be 15, by the way.
Oh, really?
And we've gotten to the point where it's coming much earlier.
Scary.
We'll get into that later. So, third grade.
I know.
Watching Inspector Gadget, not thinking about sexual reproduction in the least.
Well, just because you have your period, it doesn't really, even though it has everything to do with reproduction, it didn't have anything to do with that for me at the time. And when I got it then, it wasn't, I don't think it was like a consistent 28-day period type of, like adult period. I think that it took a while to sort of really lock in. But I do remember being like the only kid, having to worry about that. No one, not everybody knew. I got it with my friend when we were at the lake. And I was like, I think this is my period. And she was surprised. And my parents got me a cake because I was like a woman now or something at 8.
They got you a cake to celebrate this occasion.
Yeah, because you're a woman now.
Were they actually excited about it? Were they trying to were you upset that this had happened? So this cake is a way to make you feel better? Or was there an actual joy instilled in your parents when the period came and they get a cake? It's time for that cake. We've been waiting to get her.
I don't think they were excited. I don't think that they were celebrating that I had it or that they were happy about it. I think it was just, listen, let's make this a thing that is a positive thing for you. You are now a woman.
What did the cake say? Was there a message on it?
Maybe I had like a rainbow bright on it because I'm 8.
Congrats.
You're a woman. But like I said, it's not like...
With a really crude, curvy woman with a big bust and then a big butt coming out.
It said tits right around the corner.
Get ready to bloom.
Yeah. And there's a big flower on it. And I just wanted the flower icing. I just wanted that. Because when you're little, you don't pay attention to how horrible that tastes. You just want the big flower icing.
And then guys, also drawn in... What is that gel that they put on cakes that they write with? What is that?
I don't know. Garbage gel? They take garbage juice and they put some gelatin in it, probably.
I don't know what it's officially called, but that's what I'm...
Just gel. Icing gel.
Well, all right. So you got a cake. No wonder you dated people older than you.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of feel like my
30-year-old when you were 15.
No,
which
not
is
true. He was 17. Okay. Yes, he was 17 when I was 16. No, 15. When I was 15, he was 17.
I don't know why when I first heard about that came off as some unfathomable thing.
It's a huge difference back then. Think about that. When you're he wasn't this because he didn't graduate, but you're out of high school and you're dating someone who's a junior?
Sure. 17?
Sophomore?
17?
Yeah. Someone who's still in high school, I feel like is tough. I mean, you had that girlfriend that you think may have cheated on you because she was away in college. You're just, it's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different thing. As we've gotten older, 2, 3, 4, 6 years difference is nothing.
No, and looking back on it, I mean, if I had a daughter and a 17-year-old wanted to date her and say, get the hell out of here. That's right. One thing with girls who go through...
And sex, too. Their drive for sex as a 17-year-old versus a 15-year-old, that's a huge divide, too.
Well, one of the
Except
big
for
things...
me, because I'd got my period.
Well, one of the big things with women who go through, or girls who go through puberty early, is they end up dating older guys because they develop, and then the older guys, like the fact that they're womanly and that they're innocent.
Yeah.
An 18-year-old dating... I would hope an 18-year-old never date a 13-year-old, but puberty is hitting, and women are. I guess you're technically turning into a woman. They're girls, right? You're a girl. I don't care if it's a 13-year-old's a girl.
No, a 13-year-old is a girl.
Yeah, but so you get in these situations where these dudes will prey on these girls. It's look at that shapely girl. Oh, she's only 14, and she hasn't been ruined yet.
Ew, I don't even
mean that sexually. I just mean in general. It's no dude has showed her what scummy creatures we really are yet, so I'll be the one to introduce her. And then she falls for it because the guy's 17 years old and playing lacrosse. Whoa! And I'm new in high school, and it's all crazy, and I don't know how I fit in, but if I date David, who's a junior...
Man, David, his parents are in that country club. She gets pool access all summer.
Yeah, free rides in the golf cart.
Oh, he took me out to the...
Hole 14.
Yeah.
To match your age.
Make out hole. He said he wanted to show me the constellations.
Oh, yeah. Is that something? I would even...
No, I'm making this up just like you are.
I understand that you're making it up, but this David character, if I take offense to this idea that a guy would use the constellations, looking at the stars, a beautiful thing to do.
Because that's your thing. You like that.
I don't ever ask anyone to do it, but
it's too pure of a thing because you think you might do something like that and you wouldn't push anyone to do anything.
David would never think of the constellations. He doesn't care about anything bigger than himself.
All right,
David's a guy whose world is very small. He doesn't think about the stars. He has no clue the sun's a star. David, this is not in his mind, any of this. David's just a creep who's preying on young girls because they have boobs now.
Yep, and they're making out, and she's fine with that. But then he's pushing her just a little too far. He's not raping her. He's not sexually assaulting her. But she is a little afraid for him to go up her shirt, but she's letting him anyway. And then he tries to go down her pants or something, and she's like, I don't know. She's like, come on.
It's too, okay, that's enough. It's too graphic now. There's something to be said about leaving some of this to people's imaginations.
He wants her to touch him, but she's too scared, but he kind of pushes it. It's not.
I get that. I understand. We've established that without saying it. We don't have to go into graphic detail about minors making out and going to different bases on the 14th hole of the country club golf course.
But don't you remember when you were going through puberty what that was like? Because you did kind of have to push each other, right? At least I feel like typically the girl in this situation is not the gas. You know what I mean? The dude, the boy.
Well, it depends on what's going on. If it's actually David who's done this before, yes, he's pushing the other person. But as a guy who went through puberty, I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
And the first time I don't even recall what happened. My first kiss wasn't until 15. So it was like a
loser
peck on the lips. Yeah.
Was it a girlfriend?
No, it was just a girl someone had a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
A boy-girl birthday party, which was a big deal.
Totally. Your parents are like, is there a chaperone there? Or the parents home?
Yeah, it was at his house, and the parents were there. That also became the house where I became friends with this guy, and we would go underage drink, and the parents would be there. Like, okay.
Oh, really?
Just as long as you're here, we know you're safe.
Hmm.
Which you think is cool at the time, but I look at it and think, wow, I'm glad my parents weren't like that. I'm glad those weren't my parents. But, at that age, and maybe there's something to be said for it. I still think it's BS to set up that scenario. But if the people are staying over and not driving after they get drunk, then fine. I guess everyone's so
that idea has some merit, but it's not healthy.
No, it's not.
Right.
There's no boundaries being set by the parents.
Right.
It's like, just do it.
Well, the boundary is you have to keep it in here.
Yeah, that's the only boundary. But the real boundary should be, no, you're 15, 16. You're not drinking.
Right.
Sorry. I know you're going to do it.
Unless it's with us at the table, maybe like a little half a glass of wine if you're...
I think that's... Look,
if you're responsible and you've earned some sort of trust, that kind of thing.
Kids are going to go out and drink, so it needs to be addressed. So just saying you're not drinking, I realize the flaws in that statement after I said it. But yes, if you introduce alcohol reasonably...
Yes.
And maturely, hopefully, your kid will grow up with that view. But the point is, the party, there was some dancing.
Was it in an unfinished basement?
No, it was a finished basement with a pool table.
I was going to say pool table. Damn it. I wish I'd said it.
I was definitely there. So, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I guess I'm out of puberty by the point I even got to the point where I'm with a girl and we're kissing and I don't know what to do at this point happened, but I certainly wasn't pushing anything.
Sure. Not in that moment, but in other times?
No. I mean, I don't mean to come off as some saint. I'm not. I'm a scummy person in many different ways, but one realm where I've been, I don't see any black marks on my my history is with women. It's like, forcing this on you, if anything, was probably too cautious. And it's like, I'm not into that guy. What a loser. I want a man to take control.
Yeah.
Well,
tell him what to do.
Which is fine. And once things are established, that can happen. But so David, in this instance in the story, he is pushing things. And I'm not trying to dismiss your original point. I guess a lot of the times it doesn't really match up where both people have never done that before. So someone has, and that person will probably be a little pushier than the other person.
Right. And that can be good, right? Because if you trust, not David, but if you trust the other person who is a tiny bit more experienced, which is at this point is, I'm sure they've just done it one other time and not had sex one other time, but just like done whatever you guys are about to do. It's not like they're some expert or sex god or something. It does feel nice that the other person is sort of leading you because you're too afraid to do it, or especially at that age, I think being seeming too knowledgeable about whatever is going on when you guys are like making out or having sex or whatever, it feels slutty. Because back then, right, there's a lot of labels on everything. And you're trying to figure out who you are and how you are. And that's also really influenced not just by the outer society, but like the micro society in your high school or in your friend group. So you have a lot of expectations on how to be. So like if both of you are into it and you're making out or you're doing something, that's fine. But I feel like in my memory, if I started to act like too knowledgeable or something in some sort of sexy way, then I felt slutty, or I felt like they were going to think I was slutty.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different issue. That's a problem with our perception on
right
girls and boys and men and women and assigning roles to them and what they're supposed to be. Which, to tie it into puberty, there is certainly a thing where girls have puberty earlier anyway, but yours hit very early. And girls who have puberty before other girls, it's viewed as a negative thing.
Oh, yeah. They turn into, especially when their boobs grow early, or if they end up having really big boobs, then they're like sluts. You know?
Whereas a boy who hits puberty before the other boys, it's viewed as a positive thing. Quite often, it's this person, wow, they can take control now and be a leader in the school, and they're going to be successful in life. That's ridiculous in its own right. But again, that is it ties into this. But, what you're saying, feeling slutty, that should not be. I mean, I'm sure that if you were with a boy and you did take some kind of control, the reason the label is put out there, slutty, it's because it's also somehow demeaning to the guy because he doesn't know and you know.
Yeah.
And he is the one who's supposed to take control and show you. It's like, oh, ridiculous, protective bullshit. It's like, my ego's so fragile and I can't have a girl. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And at that time of life, everything's confusing. Egos are fragile. You said you're trying to find who you are, figure out your way, which I think is funny because you're really just conforming. There's never been a bigger time in my life of conforming with others than puberty.
But it felt like you were not, right? It didn't feel like you were conforming because it felt like you were finally taking some control over your projected personality.
No,
but you're right. But really, you're like putting yourself in different costumes or like different puzzle shapes to see
whatever
if it's
was
right.
cool because you just want to fit in so you don't stand out. Before elementary school, I was myself. I didn't think about such things. Like, what are other people thinking about me? Oh, they think I'm weird. I remember the first time someone thought I was weird, and I didn't even. It hurt. It hit hard. It's like I was just being myself. I didn't know that this was weird, and it starts making you question then who you are. And then you get to middle school, which is when puberty, unless you're autumn and you're in third grade, hits. I guess it is earlier. And I forget the ages and grades, but
it's 5 years. So whatever grade it is, add 5. So and that's how old they are.
At this point, since puberty is coming earlier, which people attribute to better nutrition, but it's probably many other things. All the hormones. I don't know if that's better nutrition, but you're a 60-pound chicken when by nature they should weigh 7 pounds.
Yeah. It is always funny when you see some sort of documentary or something about some village somewhere and they have chickens and they're these tiny little shrimpy looking things.
So for whatever reason, it's coming earlier, but I still associate it with middle school. And
totally. That's the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you get to middle school and it's already, all these changes are happening in your body and you don't know what the hell's going on. And you took a health class where they dance around issues and half the school's population isn't there because their parents didn't sign off and allow them to go in. And
you're so nervous in that class because you do want to, they encourage you. I remember they encouraged us to use the proper words for things, and just saying penis, vagina, breasts, or whatever was too intense. And so anytime that I just remember being so nervous and like, not even nervous, but just full of so much adrenaline and like excitement during those sex ed classes that I don't remember anything. You know what I mean? Like your brain is flooded with all these endorphins or whatever. And so you can't even pay attention or retain anything.
Yeah, I already knew all this stuff too because my mom would give me, the rundown when I asked. Where babies come from, so you first get that answer. And then there wasn't like in-depth conversation about puberty and changes that were happening in your own body. But it was mostly because I shut that down. So I don't want to talk about that. So it was there, and I heard enough, and I knew enough. People are giggling in those classes because it's nervous laughter, I assume.
Yeah.
You hear the word penis. We need to be set up somehow so it's just normal. And so you're not nervous going in there. But the point with this is ultimately get to middle school. I've been living as an individual, mostly because my brain's not developed and everything's about me when you're a child.
Sure.
That's the truth. Then you get to middle school and all this is happening and people offset the anxieties they're feeling by picking on others. I remember there was a kid who got hair on his legs in 5th grade before everyone else. And people just shit all over him for no reason other than, look at that. Even though it was going to happen to every other guy, it was the first. And so you don't want to be that person. You see that. So yeah, I felt like there was never a point where I conformed more. It's like, you're wearing Looney Tune shirts and Nautica jackets, and I don't understand the hip-hop references to that. I'll get those too, and I'll wear those.
Oh, man.
I had no clue what it was.
Yeah.
Or why.
It was just a lot of people were doing. That's what I mean. You're trying things on to see if it fits you, if it suits you.
Yeah, but it's the thing that everyone else is also trying.
Exactly.
On.
But you feel like it's something new for you because before you were unaware, and it really is that you were more yourself. But now you feel like taking charge of that projected personality or whatever, that's actually your personality, but it's not. It's just you're trying things on to see how you fit. Like I was a hippie. I was trying to get bell bottoms and, wear like flowers in my hair. And
where were you doing your shopping at the mall?
Well, that was that was later. I don't know where I was. A lot of
it was cool to go get those.
Middle school was a weird time. I was at thrift stores. I had like a Redskins red shirt that I wore a lot. I would go to the boys section of the Goodwill and I would pick out like weird t-shirts that I thought were some reference to something that I didn't know, like some camp or, some team that not like a sports team, but like some, I don't know, competitive something team shirt that everyone had made or something that had like somebody else's name on, like Jeremiah, something like that. Or I loved those.
So maybe you were stronger. You're a stronger person. You were trying to figure out who you were, whereas just trying to hide in the masses. Maybe
that's what you do. Maybe that's what you choose.
Maybe that's
is either you disappear into the wall as camouflage or you try and step forward. But at the same time, I was conforming. I was conforming to these different things. I was like, I'm a hippie. And I was trying to get the school to recycle. I was really into recycling, and like saving the planet. And then I was also a skater eventually. And so I was at Wish, not the Wish now that's like $1 for everything, but that Wish skateboarding company.
I was
really into that.
You weren't a skater. You were a poser.
I skateboarded.
Yeah?
Yes.
How good were you?
I could not ollie, which is the first thing you learn. But I used my skateboard all over the place. We would skateboard to get cigarettes.
Did you have airwalks? You were a bad kid.
Yeah, I was a bad kid.
This is interesting.
I hung out with all boys, and I would wear I was dyeing my hair pink in middle school, like chartreuse or something. And
yourself, were you just doing this at home?
No, I was doing this at home. Lots of eyeliner.
Your parents ever talked to you about any of this?
No, they felt like it was some expression of something.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing either.
I wore combat boots and I was wearing these loose shorts once and I was sitting in our driveway with my friends and I was sitting in the drive with my knees up, my feet down, and they were all laughing and I didn't know why. And then everybody had to go. And then later my friend John told me that they could see my underwear because I guess my shorts were big, I guess. Like the legs were big.
Well, you could see underwear. Who cares?
Well, back then, think about what that means. You're a kid and you're these skateboard douchey middle school kids. Like, underwear.
There's going back to you dyeing your hair, there's a stigma attached to that for some reason that I've never understood.
There is. So my mom, before I started high school, she made me change it back because she didn't want me to go into high school. She wanted me to start fresh and she didn't want anyone looking at me and saying, judging me because my hair's pink. But she took me to this horrible salon, like garbage salon in Lawrenceville, where they didn't know how to do it. And so they fried my hair. And so really, like, my first freshman year picture looks like Rosanna Dana, with my hair sticking like brown, horrible. It was the worst.
You have a copy of that photo anywhere?
Yeah, I'll post it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Okay.
But the hair thing, there was always this idea as it goes to the bad kids because, but why? People who actually are trying to express themselves and get out of the mainstream, even though that becomes its own group of confirmation in its own right, but it's a much smaller group and it's an outcast group. But I don't think it's not the person who chooses to dye their hair in 6th grade a different color that's bad. It's, I think, even adults at that point are just automatically write them off as the bad kid. So it's like, well, you already think that I'm acting like this, so I may as well.
I think we're talking from our point of view in this time. But if you think about back then, I mean, the point still stands, but it just wasn't happening. You know what I mean? It's just like the way that tattoos used to be only sort of the underbelly of society or something. But people were getting tattoos, either that or they were like sailors or army people. But now it's so much more common. And the same thing with hair. I think back then it just meant something. And so I wanted to sort of be a part of that, even though I hadn't earned anything and I wasn't doing anything that was like punk, but I wanted something about that I wanted.
Yeah, I'm not judging it at all. I always thought that was cool. I like the people with different colored hair.
Yeah.
My whole thing was just, what can I do to draw the least amount of attention to me?
Yeah.
I want to be left alone. Nobody talk to me. Nobody notice me. This is how I'm going to get through this.
Well, that makes sense because look at our personalities.
But is this where they develop? Am I a result of that? This inability to cope with? Because I was picked on. I don't know. I can't give you a time frame. It's not as clear cut when puberty hits for boys. It happens, but Do
you remember like getting pubes or getting armpit hair?
I was trying to think about that leading into the show when you told me you want to talk about this, and I don't. It's just
me either.
It's just strange. They're here. The pubes have been there. Hair on my arm and legs. It's been there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when it showed up.
Me either. It seems like that'd be something you'd be like, wow, there's a bunch of hair growing in this one spot. I don't remember it happening.
I don't remember it. I have no recollection. Zero. And it was something I wanted to try to figure out. Just so as a gauge to when this happened.
Yeah.
I remember in 7th grade, so, one thing that's easy to remember as a boy is your voice starts to crack because it gets deeper. And I was giving a presentation, and my voice cracked, and then everyone laughed, including the teacher. The teacher's laughing at me. And
she probably thought it was sweet.
Even if that's the case, and then talk to the kid afterwards, pull me aside, and I know I laughed, but, this is okay. And it's happening to everyone else, but yeah... And before I went up to give the presentation, there was a fear that this was going to happen, and then it did happen. Yeah. And then shame, just rained down on me, and I had to carry it around for the rest of that year. There's no way. It's teachers, adults laughing. They're laughing. That's something that's normal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even if it's... I hated that time.
Yeah, it's a hard time. Did you ever get erections in class? I hear that that's something that dudes get. It just the wind blows and they get a boner.
Yeah, that would happen.
Yeah. I mean, was that hard to deal with, or did you have to ask anybody about it, or did you talk to your dad about it or anything?
No, I didn't talk to my dad about it. I didn't ask anyone about it. It just happened. It's not like...
And you have to hide it?
Well, it's not like it didn't have erections before puberty. They start to come with more frequency.
Yeah.
But it's not something out of the blue. I mean,
well, it is in the middle of math class.
Yes, but then you just sit there with your hips kind of pulled in.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I brought this up on another show. Umbros were very popular, soccer shorts, which were kind of baggy, and then boys would wear them with boxer shorts, so their balls would just hang out.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted Umbros, but I just want to be like everyone else. My mom refused to buy them for me, so I never had them. So
maybe she knew. Maybe that's why.
Maybe she did know. And looking back, I'm happy that she didn't allow it. But At the time, that's a big slight against me. How dare you? I just want to look like these other guys who I think are cool.
Yeah.
Look at them picking on those other boys in the hall. And if I can get on their side, I won't be picked on. And I can get on their side by wearing Umbros.
Did you really not think that exactly, but did you think like that?
There's a
like, I don't want to be picked on, so I need to be cool, or I just want to be kind of cool?
I think it was just a way. It's like, I can get over there, they won't bother me.
Okay.
But then there's a weird hierarchy.
Yeah.
Hierarchy.
What were your friends like? What sort of social group were your friends in?
Nerdy. There was this computer game that was like a flight simulator, but it was military jets. And I used to go to my friend's house, and like he would control the mouse and be the pilot, and I'd be like the co-pilot, and I'd set radar waypoints. And
fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun, right? But this word of this gets out, it's the end of you, because God forbid. And does this directly tie to puberty? It's that time frame.
Yes.
And the reason I think it does tie to puberty, and I'm bringing it up, and I think it's fair game, is because, again, you have no clue what's going on. No one's really explained anything to you. It's just happening. You're confused. Everything's changing. And one of the easiest ways to offset that anxiety and actual physical feeling, because things, is just to pick on other people. You just pick out people. And
it depends, because you didn't do that. I didn't do that. It just depends on your personality.
An extent.
It depends on, I think, how you're raised.
What
right?
I was saying, though, is there's the hierarchy in the sense that people made fun of me. They were at the top, but then there were people below me, and I made fun of them. There was... Maybe
it's a boy thing. And girls are more psychological.
Which, I don't know what's worse. It's all bad stuff.
The psychological is a fertile playground.
There was this one kid, Philip, I would just pick on for no reason, just because I could, because he was below me in the flow chart.
I did that in elementary school. I picked on someone on purpose. I was like, I'm going to pick on you because you are doing something that I used to do that now I know is uncool. And so I picked on her, and then I felt horrible. So I was like, that was me. Like I was that person. And so I didn't do it again.
Well, good. I'm glad that you didn't do it again.
But in middle school, I did exclude people from our group. Like if I was in a certain friend group and this other person wanted to sort of also be in it, I would encourage leaving her out of things or making fun of her, talking shit about her to the other girls. And I mean, I always treated her nicely. I probably ignored her a little bit, that kind of thing. But I was never like, you're not allowed because you're whatever. I was more probably passive aggressive, which I think is more respectful.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to get away without being nasty to another person.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't even know today if she would even say that I was being nasty. You know what I mean? But I knew I was being nasty. I didn't want to hang out with her. I thought she was lame. I didn't want her to be a part of this group.
Yeah, so on the different ways that you can be mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's still not great behavior, but again, you have no clue what you're doing. You're feeling your way through this.
Did you know ahead of time what was going to happen through puberty? I know that you said that your mom or someone gave you the sex talk.
I think
did anybody tell you like all these things are going to happen to you?
Yeah, it still caught me off guard. I feel as though it was one of those things where in then 5th grade I was allowed to take the sex ed class too, and they talked about a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
But still, when it happened, it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I've told the story before on the other radio show, and it is somewhat embarrassing. But the first time there was masturbation and an ejaculate, I knew that was part of it.
Yeah.
But still, there was this horror and panic. What just happened? I could not get my mind around it, and I ran upstairs and past my sister's room where my mom was hanging out. She asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing." And I slammed the door, and I thought, if that's what it's like, I'm never doing it again. That's finished for me. 20
minutes later.
A few days. I was like, well, but it did feel good. Then you have to devise ways at that point to make it the least messy possible.
Yeah. Wait, let me ask you before we go too far. Why were you downstairs and your mom and your sister were upstairs?
That's weird. I don't know.
Where were you?
Watching the Scrambled Spice channel.
Well, they were upstairs?
Yeah.
Were you afraid?
Yeah. And you hear movement. You switch the channel.
Whoa.
It wasn't. It's not like I just was exposed. It was mostly rubbing. It was easy to just change the channel. Nobody knew. Clothes were on.
Okay.
So.
Clothes were on? Oh, you were from the outside you were rubbing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I need every detail.
It's fine. It's just.
Interesting.
It's still, I think back on it, I know there was nothing wrong with it, but that feeling, it's like an old smell.
Oh, God.
No, I'm not saying it smells. It's like you smell something, it triggers memories. Talking about it is kind of the same thing. It's just triggering this memory.
Well, when you say smells, it made me think of, women will say, like, we have it so hard, with the babies and the periods and the whatever. Like, guys, especially when what we've been talking about, where your brain is just scrambled because of the hormones surging through your body, you're having to deal with all of that. And when you want to have an orgasm, something comes out and you got to deal with it, and it smells and your mom knows. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot.
That's a thing. You're very capable of fooling yourself into thinking your parents don't know, but you realize later on they know. I told you one method. Oh, boy. Was to take.
You don't have to do it. You started it, but you don't have to end it.
It was just, I didn't. Ziploc bags, but then I didn't want to throw them away in the trash because they could be discovered, so I would cut off the Ziploc part and then I'd flush the bag down the toilet. Sometimes it took 12 flushes. They knew. There's no way they didn't. And then it just turned to like dirty laundry, and I would do my own laundry in the middle of the night, and then my mom would say, "Why are you doing laundry at 2 in the morning?"
Bags.
Hey, I think it was actually, I put a lot of thought into this and said, what's the way it's going to leave the least amount of evidence? Never mind that. It could just clog the whole
and just start coming
system.
back up.
Yeah, the whole system, plumbing system in my parents' house. And then all these bags would float out onto the flooded bathroom floor.
God.
But I didn't think that far.
Oh.
I think it was direct
Did your toilet ever come to you with a positive pregnancy test?
Huh?
Did your toilet ever come to you and like, this is your baby? It was a toilet baby.
I see what you're trying to say.
Sorry.
It was a stretch, Autumn.
No, it wasn't.
It was a bit of a stretch.
Oh, my God. All right. And then you just were defiling your hamper.
Right. But then it was just, I'll do laundry myself. So I'm not found out.
Would you just take something out of the hamper and use that and then go do laundry?
And then I would have to hide it.
I'm saying, like, what would you use? What was your bib? What was your cleanup?
Why does it matter?
I'm curious.
It's various cloth items.
Okay.
And you would just go down at 2 in the morning, set an alarm, go down, do laundry, and like no one will know until your parents hear you at 2 in the morning. Why are you doing laundry at that time? Even though they know. And at this point, it's like, why did you even ask? I don't remember what my answer was.
So she did. Your mom caught you?
She asked me once, why are you doing laundry? I think she knew the answer already.
She didn't want to know the real answer. She didn't want to know the truth.
You as a parent, this is what you have to look forward to. Do you have any plans on how you're going to approach that? Are you just going to leave it be for the most part? I feel like, I'll throw this out there. I have no clue. I don't have a kid. I've thought about it a little bit. Try to set it up as best as you can and explain that it's okay. But obviously when it's happening, the kid's not going to want to talk about it. So don't pry.
I think if it's never brought up to me and I'm seeing evidence of it, or I know it's happening.
Or what are you talking about when you say it? I'm talking about general going through puberty, not just.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant masturbation. Well, let me say the masturbation one first.
Okay.
So I think, one, if it's not affecting me in any way, you know what I mean? Like if I'm not finding, crusty socks under the bed, you know what I mean? Like if I'm not finding that, but I assume it's happening, or I know it's happening, like 30-minute showers or something, I might just say, listen, I know that things are going on with your body. If you ever want to talk about anything, or if you have any questions, you can always come to us. I know it's embarrassing, but we're always, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just say, like, we're just here if you want it. Don't be afraid to come to us. And hopefully I'll have, created that as we've gone along. It won't be like the first time that you have to come to me with something embarrassing. If there is something that is affecting me, right? If I'm going to assume it's the boy that's going to be disgusting, but if he is being disgusting in some way, if I find plastic bags in the toilet, then I'm going to say, listen,
That's
I
very
know
innovative. You're a smart kid.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. I'll start with something positive, like, wow, creative. But listen, you're destroying our septic system. So you can't do that anymore. You need to come up with a way to be more discreet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll kind of tell them, just like say, and I know that you're doing, if you have any, and then I'll set it up again. Like, if you have any questions, or if you ever need help with anything, or if you're worried or scared, you can come to us. But please stop doing that. Use your dirty laundry and call it a day. When I was little, before we go too far into puberty talk, when I was little and masturbating, I was like humping my comforter and like making out with my pillow. It was really gross.
And you were getting romantic about it.
I was definitely romantic. I would
You were making out the pillow, but now you don't like to be spooned at all.
No, that's different.
So even with the pillow, when you were done with it and the comforter, you didn't want it touching you.
No, I would just use it as my blanket.
I get that. And then when you're done, you push it to the side. Don't touch me.
No, it wasn't that. I wanted, if the comforter weighed 100 or 200 pounds and wanted to spoon me and wanted to put its leg over me, no, I don't want that. You're squishing me. But me hugging the pillow is different. And plus, I didn't do that. I would like a dog, gather it up in this perfect way. And I didn't know, even though I knew so much about, like, my mom gave me the book, Our Bodies Ourselves, and it had lots of diagrams, lots of pictures. I didn't do a lot of the reading in it, but I looked at a lot of the pictures, and it taught me about like what the inside of your breasts look like. And then when their milk came in, and people's vaginas, and then diagrams of fallopian tubes. Like, I knew all that, but I didn't know about masturbating. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew it felt good. And then, one day I was, doing my thing, and I started to feel something, and I sat up and I got real scared. I was like, well, oh God, what was that? Well, okay, I'm going to go back. And so I did it some more, and then I stopped again because it scared me. And then I was like, all right, this time I'm just going to go a little bit farther. I'm just going to let it go and see what happens. And so I just went through it, and then I had an orgasm for the first time. And I wasn't scared. I was like, whoa. That was my feeling. It's like, whoa, what was that? And then I kept trying to recreate that.
I can understand the feeling. Like, going back to my experience, there was the feeling at first, like, whoa, then it's like, whoa. The different types of whoas.
I think that for you, having something come out and not be expecting that, I guess, that would be scary.
Yeah. Even though I knew, it just hadn't happened yet, and then it did. So
yeah,
realistically, I knew. Anyway, I made out with a pillow too. I pretended it was Melody from Hey Dude.
Wait, is Melody the lifeguard or the horse one?
Melody's the one who ended up being Ben Stiller's wife.
Yes, she was the lifeguard.
I loved her.
That's a good choice.
I loved her. And then, the pillow. It was just nice. It was just kissing it. Mm-hmm. There was no humping on my end.
No, I didn't hump the pillow.
Oh, excuse me. I know.
Please. Sorry. I wasn't humping
other
the
linens.
Face I was kissing.
Other linens on the bed. So,
but
I mean, so as a parent overall, I just feel like telling them when they're kids and they're not really getting embarrassed about it yet is the way to go. You present as much information as you can, and then when it's happening, the communication's probably going to shut down. And then you just let them falter their way through it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the kids are already, like, Pete plays with his penis. Anytime he has access to it, he's on it. He's pulling it, mushing it around, and he so he has his foreskin, so he puts his finger in through his foreskin.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Got it. He talks about it getting bigger. He's like, it get bigger,
Yeah,
bigger.
Okay.
No, it's funny. Why are you upset by this?
Talking about how old is he? He's like 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah. I look, if it were my kid,
I like that he's open
things.
about it. I think it's interesting that he has, not that he doesn't have shame. No one's teaching him shame. No one expects him to have shame.
No, that'll come later. That'll come
later. It's this openness. He knows what his scrotum is. I told him he's like, what is that? He asked me what it was. It's like, that's your scrotum. Like, scrotum? And he talked about it, like saying hi to his butt. He's like, he said his scrotum is waiting for his butt and his penis says hi. And Ellie knows what her vagina is. Like, I'm using all the words. I'm using all the right words. And they have they're not shy about their bodies. And I think that's real common right now, especially for like a 5-year-old. We were just at a friend's house the other day and she like flashed her vagina. And Ellie, we've had to like break her of doing that. So I think that's pretty normal. She's not
You had to break her of doing that.
Well, yeah, we had to say like, stop. She was showing it to my dad. She would like pull, because she would like to flash her butt. And that's fine, right? That's kind of funny. But then she was like, okay, I'll do you one better. Here's my vagina. She'd go, vagina. It was, we had to stop her. My poor dad would just look away like, I don't want you to do that. Anyway.
I just think of this show when it becomes so popular with millions of downloads, and then your kids are going to be described in such a manner, and they're going to get older, and they're going to go listen. Like, why did you talk about that?
What? Why'd you do that?
They didn't give you permission.
Should I not have said that?
To go, and you can say whatever you like. I think the way you're approaching it and being open with them as a parent in the situation, that's good. Mm-hmm. But discussing it in a wider... I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it is instilling a bit of discomfort on my end.
Really?
Yes, it's very detailed. It's like going back to David. When it's like, some things we can understand these things. It's fine. I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah, I'm interested in why it's bothering you.
I can't. I mean, I could probably figure out. I don't know.
Yeah.
How to articulate what is causing the feeling, but it's like, I don't know. They're babies. When you're talking about them, very much detail.
Matter of fact is what I think. I'm speaking of it in a very
it is matter of fact. It's what they
way.
do. I think it's what every kid probably does. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't know.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe because I'm around it and it doesn't feel that crazy, so I'm saying it.
I'm sure other parents listening to this, right? Yeah, of course, and it's not a big deal. But if there's anyone who doesn't have kids, maybe it's strange for them.
But you didn't like my description earlier of
David.
David, yeah.
Because he's like, it's not rape, but it's like, okay. We get it. We can all figure it out.
Think about when, okay, not you, right? Because you didn't push sexually, but with the sort of lines that we're drawing in the sand about what is sexual assault and what is rape, I feel like coming of age could be pretty a dicey, ground. Because if you do sort of want the person to push a little bit because you're too afraid or you're nervous, but you want to do it, but you're scared, not sex necessarily, but just whatever. And then that person does that. And then you hear later that maybe that could have be under the category of an assault. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? How is that? How do you deal with that at this age?
That's a whole different topic, but
yeah.
I think the problem is if you want the other person to push and they're pushing too far, and you say no, then it should stop. But
of course,
at that age, you probably wouldn't be saying no because you don't really. There are nerves involved. There's probably part why this needs to happen at some point, and maybe I'll go through with it. And then after the fact, you may realize that it's not something you wanted to actually happen. Mm-hmm. So it was a no. But if you never expressed it, I don't know how you get around it. I think
it has to be real explicit. Like, hey, are you into this? Like, yes. Okay, let's keep going.
But no one's asking that at that age. And I think, you try to educate people as best as you can, your own kids, instead of just letting them run around. ultimately it doesn't go maybe as far as you want it to, because they're still autonomous beings making their own decisions, and you get to the point where you're rebelling against your parents anyway, so whatever they're saying may be something you dismiss. But I think as a parent, you do as best as you can. I mean, it was instilled to not put women in uncomfortable positions,
right.
and something I held on to. So there are certainly things that you can be told and taught at a younger age that will stick with you if you find yourself in the situation. But does everyone follow it? I have no clue.
Right. Well, let me end it on something. Wait, are we near the end?
Acne? Yeah.
Oh, well, do you want to talk about that?
I didn't have it, thank God. That was one thing I didn't have to deal with.
I did. I had it in elementary school because of my period. And people thought I had chicken pox. And they made fun of me, like, you should go home because you have chicken pox.
Like, no.
Zits.
Zits.
Yeah.
That was
horrible.
Man, that's another thing. Just another reason to make fun of someone out of something over something they can't control. Pizza face! See, the person already feels bad enough.
I know.
Look in the mirror and you've got all these pimples. And why do other people feel the need to just rub that in?
Ugh. Well, I mean,
I had dandruff. Because I told you about my skin condition. I had dandruff, so I didn't have zits. But because my face was dry, I didn't get the zits. But yeah, and I don't know why. Even that took a while. That's one point where I feel like my parents let me down. I remember 6th grade. It's like all over my shirt.
Ugh.
And I know it's there, and I think I could. It's like, well, there's got to be a limited amount of dandruff, so if I just keep rubbing my head, it'll just all flake out. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's seemingly an unlimited supply, even though it's not. But you can't. And I don't know why at that point my parents knew. Why did they just get me some Head and Shoulders and say, "Hey, start using this"? It seems like it took maybe it did happen within 2 weeks at that age. And that happening is a very long time. So maybe it really did happen pretty quickly. But in my mind, it seemed like it went on forever.
Well, it's hard too, probably because you have so much, you want to be left alone. And so now all of a sudden they're supposed to know when you don't want to be left alone. You know what I mean? Like maybe they were waiting for you to come to them because it's like, well, this is how he operates. So let's just let it. But in your mind, it's like, you didn't help me.
You let me go out there with all those flakes.
Yeah.
Raining down.
See, that'll be hard for me. If my kids want me to leave them alone, I think that will be hard. Because I'll want to jump in and be like, yo, here's some Head and Shoulders. Like, Mom, leave me alone.
Man, even if that's the reaction, I bet the shampoo would be used.
That's
because
true.
There is the part that's you're embarrassed and ashamed of the fact that your head is constantly flaking. And even if your parents call you out on it by getting you shampoo and that just inflames that shame for a little bit, you will start to use it. Well, but if it does solve the problem, okay. I don't have the acne thing. I always felt bad for those people. That's something I never made fun of people for.
Yeah.
Though they were surely targets. And then then MTV pushed Oxy for the pads that would dry out your face.
I used what's that stupid one that people use? What's it? I think like Kylie Jenner is promoting it.
It's very expensive, that stuff.
It used to not. I think it was. I don't know. It had a little bit more credibility back when I was using it, and now it just turned into like, oh, what the fuck is it called?
I'm
People
looking
are
it up.
beating their steering wheels.
Kylie Jenner pushes it. How can you?
Well,
not?
I just saw her recently, and she's like, my pimples were so bad.
Kylie Jenner $17 acne treatment. I don't know if this is
Proactive.
Yeah, she's not pushing Proactive, but she is pushing an acne treatment.
Oh.
It doesn't look like she's pushing. Who cares? I'm not talking about any more about Kylie Jenner.
That's fine. I didn't mean to bring her up. I just couldn't remember what it was called. But yeah, I used Proactive and it really worked. But I still get like, but I mean, women are different. You know what I mean? We've got the oilier skin sometimes, and then also the hormones changing all the time, fluctuating.
So how did you want to close this? You had something. You had a big set piece to bring us out.
Oh, I was just thinking, well, when you put it up like that, I feel like it's not that good.
I'm sorry that I've set you up for failure.
I was wondering if there was any point during puberty that you started to and I don't know, maybe this is something that men don't do at all, but did you ever look at your body and see it so different and feel like more sexual in it?
No. But I mean, the changes with girls is obviously more pronounced. It happens with men. Obviously, our bodies fill out.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were looking at your body like, wow, look, I'm like a man now. I'm manly.
I never
This is
have.
manly, and that's sexy, kind of.
I was so skinny until 10th grade. And then we started lifting some weights for soccer, and my body really took to it. And not like I'm super muscular now, but then it does seem like muscles just popped up. But I never looked at myself in the mirror and said, ooh, man now.
Because when my boobs came in, I was like, oh, boobs. I loved my boobs. They're like my favorite part of my new body. I would put on dresses backwards, on my own when I was in my room, supposed to be asleep. I'd put them on backwards so that I'd have like lots of cleavage. You know what I mean?
That's probably a pretty normal thing, just exploring the changes in your body. But no, I can't carry that conversation any further because there was never a point. And it's probably just, I've never viewed myself as that sexual of a being, so.
Right, that's true. I'm asking the wrong person.
Yeah, talk to people who don't find sex to be a chore and the most animalistic thing. I want to be a machine.
How do you get past that? Because you have to have the drive to I really want to hump this person.
It comes here and there.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not there. The trick with it, if you can surely overthink it, and if that's your mindset going in, it can ruin the whole thing. But
right.
I've gotten all right, even if it's not a moment where I'm really wanting to have sex, we can start it, and I'm able to disengage that part of my brain. But it does require a separation of my.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, just go be an animal now for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can.
I feel like porn lately has really. I can't get into it. So gross.
What?
Porn.
I know, but what about it?
I don't know. It's just all very unappealing.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like it when the girl is too innocent.
There's
I don't
been
like
no
it.
change. So is it a change in the content and the way it's presented, or is it the same stuff you've always watched that you just don't like anymore?
No. It all just seems kind of gross.
Yeah, ultimately it is pretty gross.
Yeah. I feel like the women are either over sexual and that's gross, and then they're like innocent and being taken advantage of, that's gross, or it's just some like dripping gross sound. Ugh, it's all gross. It's really gross.
Strive to be a machine.
Yeah.
Join the movement, Autumn.
Okay. That should be your t-shirt for our show.
Strive to be a machine.
Yeah. So people would say like they're a machine.
Yeah, people wear
and
that
then
shirt. What does that shirt
team.
mean? It's like, there's a guy who hates being a human.
Yeah.
And I listen
and
to
I
this
like him.
amazing podcast. Here, take a listen. Here's a sticker. And if you want to buy this t-shirt, strive to be a machine. One day if I get into that. I'm not in this for the money. Or the merchandising. Merchandising?
Merchandising. How do you say housewives?
Housewives.
Do you say housewives?
Housewives.
Some people say housewives.
Housewives.
Which is wrong.
Sure.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with our topic. I'll take us out on this.
Okay.
If time travel were real, instead of sending people to prison, I would send them back to puberty. That would be your punishment. Oh, you robbed that store? You're going back to puberty for 6 months. Oh, you murdered someone? Perpetually in puberty for the rest of your life.
That's a really interesting concept. It's like real life karma.
I mean, if I ever write a short story, I have a whole list of ideas for short stories that I'll never write. But if I ever get around to it, that'll be one of them.
I would love to read a short story of yours.
A world where people are sent back to puberty as punishment. All
right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Please rate and review us on iTunes and on Facebook. You can find us everywhere by searching One Topic. We have our official sponsor of our show, hoffandpepper.com. You can use our code OneTopic15 to get 15% off of some delicious sauce. Go check them out. And I've given out a lot of stickers. I've sent a lot of stickers and some pins to people. So if you're interested in something like that, get in touch with me and, send something out to you, because we love you guys, and we love doing the show, and we love the people who love our show. So thank you, everybody, for listening.